Hundreds of years ago, the French was divided into three social estates: the clergy, the first estate; the nobility, our second estate; and the peasants, who were born to serve the others. And one above all stood the king. When the corrupted monarch decided to increase the tax on the third estate, the anger of the commoners reached a new high level, and the revolution has begun.
This is the French Revolution in plain English.
In the 1780s, the deficit spending of France of the American Revolution led to the bankruptcy of the nation. So during the assembly in June 1780, Louis XVI decided to raise the taxes on the third estates. The third estates got furious and left the meeting hall, but Nicholas XVI locked the door and refused to let them in again. Fools, how are you going to call yourself a National Assembly if you can't assemble?
So they found a new meeting room at a tennis court. It was there where they decided to form the National Assembly. They all swore an oath known as the Tennis Court Oath, not to separate and to reassemble wherever the circumstances require until the constitution of the kingdom is established. A mob, 1 month later, were so angry at the king that they attacked a prison called Bastille. Bastille was a symbol of the king's dictatorial power. It was also where he imprisoned his political enemies. The prison was taken down, symbolizing the end of absolute monarchy. 3 months later, armed women marched the rich compound to order and force Marie Antoinette to move back to Paris, since they thought she stored huge amounts of grain in her palace while they starved. In the end, she did move because everyone is afraid of armed women and girls, right? And the incompetent king later attacked the Austrian king, though the Austrian king tried to restore Louis's monarchy. He stole grains and products from Austria, which later led to Austria and Prussia waging war on France.
On January 21st, 1793, Louis XVI was executed. He was powerless to control the financial problems that were inherited from his father. He abandoned France and attempted to ditch his country with his wife Marie Antoinette, but soon he was apprehended in Paris with her. Even though he was the king of one country, he had to upset the constitution in 1791. Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette were imprisoned in 1792 August, and the National Convention abolished the monarchy. Also in November, evidence of Louis XVI's counter-revolutionary plan with Austria and other foreign nations were discovered, and he was put on the trial for treason by the National Convention. Eventually, on January 21st, 1793, Louis XVI was executed by guillotine. After 9 months, his wife Marie Antoinette followed him.
The period between 1793 to 1795 was called the Reign of Terror. Early on the year, France was at war with 6 different European countries: Austria, Russia, Spain, Sardinia, Britain, and Holland. These countries came together to form a coalition against France. In March of 1793, the French army lost to Austria in the Battle of Neerwinden. Around that time, the price of bread began to increase again. The new paper currency lost almost 80% of its value. In April 1793, the National Convention gave great powers to a Committee of Public Safety, which was led by Jacobins. The terror continued throughout the autumn and winter of 1793. About 3,000 executions took place in Paris and 14,000 in the rest of the country. One of the first to die was Queen Marie Antoinette, executed for treason. In Nyon, a Jacobin called Joseph Fouché thought the guillotine was too slow, so he ordered that 300 more people be killed by cannon or fire. The Committee of Public Safety said that the terror was needed to get rid of loyalties. Eventually, people got sick of all the killing and lost confidence in the Committee of Public Safety. 8 out of 10 people who died were poor people and not rich nobles.
France was never the same after the French Revolution. The government changed from a monarchy to a democracy. All these government types changed the social and political structure of France. First came the National Assembly, then came the Directory, and finally came the reign of Napoleon, the Emperor of France who could not be removed from power. He laid the foundation for modern French education by changing the system. He also made the France the dominant power of Europe. Now they still have the same type of education and they still have the similar laws.